Mercenary. So we're working on Mercenaries 2. Mercenaries 2 is GTA in a war zone, right? Big, epic game. And it had virtues, but it was mostly a mess for a lot of reasons that I've talked about elsewhere. We're not going to go into here. And this game, the closest analogy, we say GTA in a war zone, but there was huge problems with tone in this game. And there were very, very few people on the team in any position of power to do anything about it that even understood what tone was. You know, the game was basically like G.I. Joe. And when you would say that, people in charge would get upset because their perception was if it's G.I. Joe, then it's a toy and it's only for kids. And it's like, well, okay, then is it Tom Clancy? And they're like, oh God, no, it's not Tom Clancy. That's really serious and dark. And they would describe it as being kind of fun and over the top and not very serious. And we're like, okay, so like G.I. Joe. And they're like, no, right? So this huge tension. And we're like, well, what about the A-team? And they're like, no. It's like, okay, we're just trying to find some reference that will help us communicate and establish what the tone is. And it was all over the place. But ultimately, it was very G.I. Joe-esque, right? Over-the-top characters. You know, people died, but death was not serious. It was definitely not like a GTA game. And even GTA games are very tongue-in-cheek. But this is way more on the kind of over-the-top comedic action. And so, yeah, they brought in this actual mercenary. I don't think he was Blackwater. He might have been. And he had sunglasses on and was, you know, a short, kind of wiry guy. This dude had a big impact on me, by the way. And so for some reason, they hired this dude. He had a handler. So we paid for him and his handler to come in and talk to us, literally just hang out in the conference room for like an hour. And they had no idea who would be the beneficiary of this talk. So they were like, well, I guess the designers? Let's get the designers and bring them all in here. And we were like, what? Well, we got this actual mercenary. We have a dude here who people pay to kill for money. He's a professional murderer. Would you like to speak to them? And we're like, no. What? We're all trying to get it. We're like way behind schedule and we're all crunching, you know, six days a week. No. What are you talking about? But then we had to do it. So we hang out with this guy. So all these designers, all these 20 something, early 30 something, you know, nerds are all sitting on one side of this table with this professional killer on the other side. And he's got sunglasses on and he's doing his best Wolverine impression and trying to put the fear of God into us. Right. But we like, what? All right. And he is talking about his experiences in Iraq. He actually had like a lot of video to show us about what it was like. All of it was horrible. It's literally video from a phone. You'd like, there's a friend of mine who this is in the hospital, which was like, you know, a tent. This is in the hospital. You can see when he turns and a bullet had gone through here and out here and his whole jaw was swollen up and he was in shock. And he was like, yeah, it was a good friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. He got shot. Yeah, he only lived about another 20 minutes after this. Yeah, and here's a video of, this is some guy's ass cheek that was had gotten blown off, and you can see it's like boiling. It's like sitting in this pool of blood, and the missile that hit him was so hot, and we were like, what are we doing? What is this? What is going on? So after he does his spiel, he talks for about half an hour and shows us all these horrible fucking videos. We're watching this, you know, happen, of a trench that had been dug in the desert at night. So we're watching night vision, trench dug in the desert, and you could see people in it. And this dude who is sitting in front of us now fires a grenade launcher at one side of the trench, and all these guys all run over here. And while they're all running over here, he fires a grenade launcher on this side of the trench, and then these guys and they all bunch up in the middle, and he goes boom, 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 and he kills like, I don't know, 8 or 9 people. And at the end of this process, he says, like, do you guys have any questions for us? Everybody in the room, all the designers in the room, all turn and look at me. And I was like, and our producer goes, Matt's the writer. And the handler goes, oh, cool. What, do you have any questions? And I literally thought to myself, I'm never going to have an opportunity like this again. I'm never going to have an opportunity to talk to somebody like this in an environment like this. And so what is the most direct question I can ask that will provide me the most insight and information? And I said, how many people have you killed? And he took off his glasses and he stared at me. I don't know what he thought was going to happen. But my reaction, this is my environment. He's a guest here. He's the one who, if anything, should feel uncomfortable. I did not feel uncomfortable at all. I felt like this whole thing was absurd, and I think I spoke for the rest of the team in that. And he gives me this look, and I was like, I was like, what? what do you expect me to ask? And when I didn't flinch, everything changed. Like, his demeanor completely changed. And he goes, do you want to see? And I was like, yeah. and he pulls up his leg, and on his calf he had tattooed, I don't know what the symbol was, but he had a whole bunch of, goes, these are all my confirmed kills. He goes, you know, you kill in these situations a lot of people die and you never know, but you track confirmed kills where you can verify I killed that dude, not some. And he goes to this whole thing, and he's like, puts his leg up, and it's kind of like that scene from Jaws where he's like, yeah, this was that and this was that, and he's like a normal person. He's not putting on an act. Everything up to that point with the glasses on was him kind of playing a role, I think. But now that I asked a question that he was actually interested in answering, as it turns out, he opened up and was talking like a normal person. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, it's because when they get me, I want them to know how many of them I'm worth. One thing we asked him, I don't think I asked him this, the one thing we asked him was, we asked him like what his role was. And I don't remember what his answer exactly was, but he's like, that whole thing about this guy's a sniper, that guy's a medic. And he goes, once you're in Spec Ops, it doesn't work like that. Everybody is trained to do everything. And yeah, that guy might have the radio. So we think of him as the radio operator. All of us have that same training that dude has. And if anything happens to him, we can all use the radio. He's not a specialist. I just do the radio. No. That's not how any of this works. We all have the same training as the medic. We can all do the medic's job. Everybody should be able to, what is this? He's like, he said something like, what is a sniper? It's somebody who can take a rifle, a high-powered rifle, and shoot somebody from far away. We are all expected to be able to do that. And that was really interesting to me. And then he said something that had a huge impact on Hayden, the main character of my book, and who he was. This guy was like 5'7" or 5'8", and all the people that he worked with were all like his height. And he said, he goes, the thing is that Hollywood vision of an operator as being this like 6'6", the phrase he used was the 6'6", corn-fed, blonde-haired Iowa type. He goes, those guys don't make it, because part of your training in Spec Ops is one of the things, I don't know why it was this thing in particular, but this is the thing he remembered. He goes, part of your training in Spec Ops is you are submerged completely, basically naked in freezing cold water, and you're expected to strip and reassemble a gun. And he goes, the problem is those big buff dudes that you think of, those like wrestler type guys, they just bleed heat. They go into shock, because their surface area and their body weight are all out of whack. He goes, it's the tiny, wiry guys. He goes, it's the short, compact guys who can go through that training and come out the other end. And I remember when that meeting was over and he was leaving, I shook his hand and I said, hey, good luck out there, man. We're all going to be thinking about you. And he's like, thanks. Wow, cool. Yeah, thanks. Because I knew this guy's going to die. This guy is going to keep signing up, because keep in mind, he's not in the military. He was a mercenary. He's going to keep signing up. And we asked him questions like, how much do you get paid? And he goes, oh man, I did this one tour and I got 180,000 for it. That was 2 months work. And keep in mind that when I'm working, they're paying me to eat. You're not spending any of the money, right? And he told a story about buying a Maserati, driving it 2 blocks and crashing it. He goes, so then of course I had to go sign up again, right? And that was the one thing he said that it just confirmed the whole thesis of our characters in this game, which keep in mind, we'd already done one game. We'd already done Mercenaries 1. And that was Mercenaries 1 was like, the idea is, this is what I said. I said, these guys are like Conan. They go out, they risk their lives, they do this crazy shit, they make a whole bunch of money, then they come back to the States and they piss it away on ale and whores, was the phrase I used referencing Conan. And then they're bankrupt, they gamble it away, they invest it in stuff they don't understand, and then they've got to go back. And what I didn't understand was that it's kind of like, what's his name in Heat, where he's like, for me, the action is the juice, right? They were just looking for things to spend their money on to give themselves an excuse to sign back up. This is the Hurt Locker kind of thing, because that's when they feel like alive and relevant. But also, what else are they going to do, right? Someday this war is going to end. What's that guy going to do? Is he going to go become a used car salesman? No. So yeah, that's the story about the mercenary they hired. And yeah, he was going to, and that phrase, I'll never forget it, that he said, I want them to know when they get me how many of them I'm worth. Not if they get me. He didn't say if they get me, when they get me. He was going to keep signing up until, because what else is he going to do?